Hello, everyone. Lovely to see you. Hello, Prem, Nathan, Holger. Hello, Esther. Shay. Hello, Shay. Malcolm. Holly. Hi, Jenny and Patrick. So we'll start this meeting with a brief guided meditation, and then you're welcome to ask whatever questions you would like to ask. So just for now, you can lower your gaze, close your eyes, or just turn your gaze inward. And simply be as you are. Whatever is appearing to you, whichever way the body is expressing itself, whatever thoughts, images, memories are appearing to you, simply remain as you are. No need to do anything. Whenever you are placing conditions onto the world, onto others, you are setting yourself up for disappointment. Whatever conditions you place onto others, onto the world, are false. They maintain the false sense of separation. The teaching is so simple. It's an invitation to simply be. It is not an invitation for you to dive into thinking and feeling and comparing and analyzing, and judging. It's an invitation to be not knowing, to be the openness, to be the causeless joy, the causeless freedom. When you don't superimpose the past, when you don't superimpose your beliefs, your stories, then you are fresh this moment, brand new, a brand new moment of being, of presence. Not a continuation of the old feelings and the old beliefs, not a continuation of the old wounds and the old hurts, but a fresh, open, spacious, where there is nothing at stake, nothing that you need to protect, to defend, to maintain. Look at how the river flows no resistance. And if you resist, you're bound to be hurt and to cause hurt. The peace that we seek does not depend on any conditions. It does not depend on the health of your body, the wealth. Does not depend on the world situation. You find peace as pure being. Not a feeling, not a sensation, but pure being. When being is transparent, it's not a bundle of thoughts or a bundle of feelings. It's open, transparent, like an open stage. Which is consciousness, awareness. The reality that hears these words that whenever you assume yourself to be a person and you project another, you are in the sense of separation. It's unhappy. You get hurt, disappointed. You want the others to be and to act differently. You want the world to be different because you've separated yourself. You have separated yourself from the totality. And so you believe your happiness depends on others and on the world and on various situations. So you struggle in your mind to find a way, to find the peace. But you're struggling in the wrong direction. You need to see that you're assuming yourself to be a person, to be a woman, to be a man, to be somebody. And with this assumption, you've created the falsehood, you've created the sense of separation and the unhappiness. But you're not the body, you're not a man or a woman, you're not a person. You are the reality of being. I am. This transparent, aware presence. So you don't need to maintain your beliefs about yourself and about others and about the world. A freedom from the past. In this moment of being, of presence, it's just love, oneness, wholeness. It's not a me and a you, a better me or a better you. No, it's just love. So you let go of the false self. What remains is your true nature. Let go of your story, your image, your personal narrative. The moment you see the personal narrative, you do not proceed any further, you stop. Because a personal narrative is based on the belief that you are a separate person, which is not true. Okay, so if you have any questions, anything that you'd like to explore, please make sure you unmute your mic. Any questions?
Hi, Magdi. I'd like to ask a question, if it's okay.
Yes, hello, Shai.
Hello. You were talking about the personal narrative right now, and I have a question. In the Advaita teachings, a lot is talked about the separate self and the fact that the separate self takes ownership. For example, a feeling, a sensation of hunger appears in my body, and then separate self would come in and say, I'm hungry. A feeling of anger or sadness would appear in me, awareness or reality, but then the personal, sorry, it's late at night here, that's why I'm a little bit tired.
Sorry.
So a feeling of anger or sadness would appear in me, the reality awareness, and then the separate self would say, I'm angry, I'm sad. So that is talked about a lot in the teachings of non-duality. Now, I guess my question is this. Oftentimes sometimes I would get a feeling or like anger, sadness, or a sensation like tension, and then it would just pass through. And sometimes I would get a feeling such as anger or sadness or tension, and I feel that it's very sticky. Now, when it's very sticky, I don't hear the small self saying, it's my feeling, it's my sensation. So I would like some clarity on the fact that the separate self takes ownership of everything, and why I don't hear the separate self, saying it's my feeling, it's my sensation, it's my this and that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, first, Shay, you need to understand that there is only one self, one I, one reality. Whatever it is that right now is perceiving this perception is this I, this reality, which we refer to as I or as self. There is no other self. There is no other reality that we call the personal self. The personal self is a belief and a feeling. The belief that I the reality that perceives right now, this perception, is limited, separate, and is dependent on the body-mind. So what we refer to as ignorance, or the sense of personhood, is a combination of a belief and a feeling that I am a man, I'm a person. When there is hunger, I perceive a sensation in the belly or in the body or whatever. I perceive a sensation. It is not the personal self that perceives, because there is no personal self per se. What perceives the sensation is I awareness. I, that which right now is hearing these words, is the same awareness, the same reality that hears these words right now, that perceives the sensation of my feet on the ground, or that perceives hunger, if there is a sensation of hunger in the body. When there is anger, for example, or sadness, or a jealousy, when there is a negative emotion that's arising, I, the same I that hears these words right now, I perceive a sensation, maybe a pressure in the face, or the heart is pounding, or the chest or the stomach are very tight. I perceive a sensation. It's the same I, same awareness that perceives sensation. And I perceive also thought. Why did he insult me? Why did she do this to me? Why does she not love me? So that same I, that same awareness is perceiving this thought. But there is also the belief, which is not perceived. It's in the, behind the curtain. Behind the curtain, there is the belief that I am this person, I am somebody, I meaning awareness. I am this honorable person, this beautiful person, this great person, whatever. And that the other should respect me, should love me, should like me, should blah, 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 blah. There's the belief, it's behind the curtain, that I am a person, I'm born in 1965, whatever, I'm born, and I exist in the world. I exist. I'm like the body mind, exist in the world. That's the belief. This is what we call the sense of separation, or sometimes we refer to it as ignorance or unhappiness. In fact, if you look at your experience right now, Shay, according to your experience, you are not in the world. You are perceiving the world. You're perceiving this perception. This perception is appearing in you. You are not appearing inside the perception. The perception is appearing in you. So your experience tells you the world is appearing in you. Your experience does not tell you you are in the world. That's a belief or a feeling, but it's not based on your experience, on your direct experience you do not perceive yourself in the world. If you look at your body, your body appears to you as a sensation, for example. The sensation appears to you. You do not appear inside the sensation. So according to your experience, you are not a person in the world. You are awareness, consciousness, reality, whatever the word is, the word we use. And the world and the body and the mind, they appear to you. They appear in you. You do not appear in them. So when you are talking about experiencing sadness,
or tension in the body, for example,
or tension in the body, if you do not believe yourself to be somebody,
okay,
in the absence of believing yourself to be somebody,
okay,
you are just perceiving something, a sensation, a feeling. But as soon as you believe yourself to be somebody, then you are arguing. You are arguing, why am I feeling, I should not feel this. Because I am somebody, I should not feel this. But in the absence of assuming yourself or believing yourself to be somebody, you are simply viewing a sensation. And sensations, they are different. They are not all the sensations are not pink. Some sensations are purple. Some sensations are black. Some sensations are brown. You know, I'm using the colors as a metaphor.
yes,
The sensations, they are appearances to you. They do not define you. But when you say, I am sad, you have defined yourself. At that moment, you have defined yourself as purple.
I'm sorry to interrupt you just 1 second. You know something, I mean, the belief and the feeling, or the feeling that comes with the belief, I am a person, is really so subtle, and it's, as you just said, behind the curtain, that I haven't even noticed it, because it's so subtle.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, when we don't notice that belief. It's like you put on purple glasses.
Yes.
You don't notice that the snow is white. No, it's purple. It is purple because everything is purple, because you don't notice the assumption. So yes, we perceive our entire experience, our personal experience, because behind the curtain is the purple glasses. Behind the curtain, there is a belief, I am Shay. So we look here, we don't look at our belief. We say, look, what is your experience? And right now, your experience is awareness. I perceive this perception. I meaning awareness. Perceive this perception. I perceive sensations of the body. I perceive the body. I perceive a itching in my shoulder. I'm perceiving. I perceive a sensation. And the sensation then disappears. Now I perceive a different sensation. or a different thought. Yes, that's our experience. But I am not something inside that in the perception. I am not an object in the perception. You follow? It's like you are in the
yes,
theater.
I understand 100%, Magdi. The only problem is, at least for me, that in the moment of, well, you explained to me that everything is pure perception, but I'm just using this to illustrate my point. In the moment of pure perception, there's no me, you, there's just pure perception of everything. Then a split of a second later, the mind comes in and divides. It's like, this is me, this is Magdi, this is a computer, this is glasses. And then the problem I'm facing is that a split of a second later, after the so-called pure perception, the mind tells me, you see, you're just a body. You see, you're just a person. And at the moment of pure perception, before the mind comes in, I can say, oh yeah, I'm reality, or I'm pure awareness. But a split of a second later, when the mind comes in and shows me, but you don't see the body here, but you don't see the wall here, then I don't know how to, I don't know if how to negotiate with, to explain this to the mind, so the mind finally gets it.
Well, okay. At the mind level, there are many concepts and many names and many forms. So we say, this is the table, this is the wall, this is the car, these are the keys, etc. That's not a problem. That's very useful. Because if I tell you, okay, Shay, please give me your keys, you're not going to give me your glasses, you're going to give me the keys.
Yeah.
So the conceptual aspect of the mind is useful. And when somebody says Shay, it's the name of your body. So you say, hey, yes, you recognize the name of the body. And somebody says, there are 10 people, and somebody says, who is Magdi? You can point to Magdi, say, oh, this is Magdi. So the mind is useful. It's helpful. There's a difference between, there is pure perception, which is just being. Then there is a conceptual realm. And then there is a third thing, which is ignorance. There is no pure perception. We're always having pure perception.
Yeah, I just used it because I couldn't find a different way to describe it.
That's okay. Pure perception is good. It's like pure awareness. Then there is the conceptual realm, names and forms, which is okay. We know when there is a red sign, we stop. Stop sign, we stop because of the mind. It says red means stop, green means go.
Yes.
But there is a third thing, which is ignorance. Ignorance is not a conceptual realm, it's a belief. The belief that awareness, that I is personal and limited, that consciousness is personal and limited, that consciousness is a person, needs to protect. I need to protect myself. I need to defend myself. I need to protect and defend myself as a reality, a personal consciousness. Ignorance is the belief that consciousness is personal and limited. That is where the unhappiness and the misery is. There is no problem with stopping at the green, at the red, and driving at the green. There is no problem with when somebody tells me, okay, you owe me $10, I'm going to count $10, give it. It's no problem with that, with the mind. It's actually a very useful, practical tool. Like a bicycle, you need 2 tires for the bicycle. You need to have air in the bicycle. It's good. It's a good thing to have the good 2 tires and air in the bicycle so you can ride the bicycle. But ignorance is a different thing, Shay. Ignorance is the belief about I, that I is a limited reality.
Yes, I understand that everything is perceived, including the belief that I am a person. And I've been really looking at this belief and all the other beliefs. I guess I'll just keep looking at it.
There is only one key belief you need to look at.
Yes.
Belief that you are the body-mind, that you consciousness, that consciousness is personal and limited. Right now, your experience is of awareness, right?
Yes.
Awareness. Ask yourself, on what basis do I believe that this awareness, which is my experience right now,
yes,
is dependent on the body-mind?
Oh, well, unfortunately, my mind has all the evidence it needs all the time. Like, for example, my mind, it tells me, oh, but you don't feel yourself in here. You don't feel yourself here. Oh, you see, you're here. You're inside the head.
Okay.
And all the,
good. Okay, so let's look at. So we take a look at that. We say, okay, I have evidence. I have the evidence is there is a feeling that I am here, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now then you say, all right. So I perceive a feeling.
Yeah.
And the feeling that I perceive is saying, I am here. The feeling that I'm perceiving is saying, I am here, right?
Yes.
Which means the feeling that I perceive knows where I am.
Yes, I understand. The feeling doesn't know anything about me.
Oh, wait, right, but you, I know, you're jumping now. You're right. You're right. The feeling doesn't know where you are. Feeling is something you perceive.
Yes.
But you say, I have evidence that I am here. And the evidence is the feeling. So you are using the feeling as the evidence, like the feeling knows. The feeling, you're using the feeling as an evidence. And then you say, well, the feeling doesn't know anything. So it's like I am a lawyer, and I bring a witness, and the witness is my main witness, and the witness is deaf, dumb, and blind. And I tell the judge, Your Honor, I have a witness here. I win my case because I have the witness. The witness is the feeling. You said, oh, I have a lot of evidence. I have evidence. The feeling, you said something about the feeling is here or here. I don't know.
Yeah.
Here. Right. So you're using a feeling as evidence about consciousness.
Well, I was, but then but now as you were speaking, I just remember what you have told me. That the feeling, what can the feeling know about me? I just remember. It just popped up to me as you were speaking from the
a feeling is something you perceive, and
yes.
then it dissolves.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Anything that you perceive does not know anything about the reality which perceives it.
Yes.
Anything you perceive does not know anything. Whatever you perceive, does not know anything about the reality which perceives it.
Yes.
So you have to use, when you go in front of the judge, you cannot bring a witness who is deaf, dumb, and blind. You have to bring a witness with evidence.
Yes.
Your Honor, look at those pictures. Look at this video. Your Honor, look at this is the gun. This is the gun. Look at the fingerprints on the gun. This is the criminal. Here's the fingerprints on the gun and the fingerprints on the accused. Then look at the fingerprints. Say, oh, okay, thank you. This is good evidence. So you have to investigate your evidence. So you don't use the false evidence, or you don't use non-evident evidence.
Yes, yes, of course. Because if we could just see the awareness or the reality, then we would instantly know, okay. But because we cannot see it, then the mind always comes up with stuff like,
yes, that. Right. But you see, you have two channels to experience. You have the phenomenal channel, a channel where you can perceive via the conceptual realm. This is a tree, this is a car, this is the ocean, this is a bird. It's a phenomenal channel. And then you have the another channel of perception, which is the nominal channel. The nominal channel is a different channel. It has no phenomena in it. For example, I am. When you ask yourself, am I aware or am I? The answer is yes, I am. That's a nominal channel. It's not the phenomenal channel because you're not looking at a thought, you're not looking at a tree, you're not looking at the ocean, you're not looking at a feeling. There's no object. And the nominal channel is available to you, which is also the intuitive channel. I know I am, I know there is one reality. These are the intuitive channel. So you're not limited. The phenomenal experience of the mind is like looking through a small hole in the wall. You look at the small hole in the wall, but you only see so little bit with the mind. But with the nominal channel, then there's a different realm of knowing. So yes, you don't perceive awareness phenomenally. You don't perceive consciousness phenomenally. But to nominally, I am, meaning I'm aware and I know I am. I am and I know that I am. Then there is that channel available to you.
Okay, well, the good news is, like you said, I only have to explore that one specific belief.
Yes.
And I don't have to go to explore many, just one.
Just one belief.
Behind the curtain, which is running behind the curtain.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Magdi.
Okay, Shay, nice talking to you. Yes.
I have a question, if you don't mind.
Yes. Yes. Hello, Prem. Yes.
Hey.
Hi.
Yes. So let me just understand this right.
Yes.
So let's say when we are in separation, we suffer. When there is no separation, we don't suffer, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Now.
So let's.
Yes. Go ahead, please.
So if I have to push this a little bit further, would it be accurate to say that when there is no separation, that you would be naturally more loving?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Because when we are experiencing the other as separate from us, then we are more like measuring what can he do for me, what can she do for me, does she fit within my does she fulfill my desire, blah blah blah, you know.
Yeah.
Then if there is a good match, you are happy. But then if there isn't a good match, then oh darn, you know, I need to. She needs.
It's conditional, is what you're saying.
Huh?
It's very conditional, is what you're saying. It's very conditional in nature.
Yes. As soon as you separate yourself, you have placed conditions automatically. You cannot separate yourself without conditions.
Okay.
When you separate yourself, you already define yourself as I am this and that and that and that, meaning there are conditions.
Okay.
Now,
okay. No, my question is actually, so now what is the connection between love and truth?
Yes, love is truth and truth is love. There cannot be falsehood in love.
Then what makes love different from truth?
It's not different from truth.
No, okay. You feel it's like a different aspect of truth, or a flavor of?
You could say that.
Because it has a different quality to it. You would agree, right?
Yes, yes, because truth is more at the mind level, like at the understanding level, at the wisdom level or the understanding level, while love is more at the feeling level. But the question is, what is the difference between truth and love?
Yeah.
So it's like various facets of a diamond. You know, in a diamond, you see just a beautiful light. But if you get closer, you see there are different facets. And every facet is sort of reflecting, you know, but they're reflecting the same light. They're reflecting the white light, God's light. So it, like a diamond, from a distance, it's just one light, God. But when you get closer, you see love, you see truth, you see beauty, you see wisdom, you see intelligence, you see compassion, you see freedom. Yes?
Yeah.
Right? And they're all aspects, these facets are aspects of truth, of God, of Atman, of the absolute. They are aspects of the absolute.
Okay. So if I have to like take what you're saying, then I can conclude that so when you are removing separation, at least in non-dual traditions, we are removing separation, blah, blah, blah. So there is a sense of connection, right? You're connecting basically by removing the separation. So then would you like say then the love has the quality of connection, or is truth getting the quality of connection from love? So which one is like, or is it happening simultaneously?
Now you can ask yourself, like, what is the connection between two drops of water? Two drops of water. You have, for example, a wave, you know, a big wave and a small wave. You ask yourself, what is the connection between the big wave and the small wave? It's because they are made out of water. What is the connection between two drops of water? They're the same. It's a connection, an absolute connection, absolute connection. So in love, there are not two. In love, we go from the wave to the water, to their reality. The essence, we go from the big wave and the small wave, for example, down to their essence. And their essence is water. Water meaning one essence, one reality.
Yeah.
So in love, there is no two. In love, the many are one, you say. I'm sorry, what was the other part of your question? I
understand this. So now I think the question would be, what I'm really trying to understand is how I can use non-dual realizations to now practice love. Because if I ask this directly, then it would make that much sense. Right?
Yes, that's a very good question.
Yeah.
You know, so when we separate ourselves from the totality, when a wave, for example, as a metaphor, separates itself from water, says, oh, I'm a wave, I'm not water, I'm a wave, then your experience is going to be that you are a wave. You are, the fact that you are a water is still there, but it's not available to you experientially, because you are more identified with the wave. So although, yes, I can agree with you that in fact you are water, you are not a wave.
I get it.
Still, it's not fully available to you experientially. So then the contemplation is, am I a wave? What is the evidence that this wave is separate from water, for example? What is the evidence that I meaning, first we need to understand, Prem, what we mean by I.
Yeah.
So when I say I am always referring to awareness. I'm always referring to reality. I'm not referring to the name of the body. Your mom and dad, they named you this body, their lovely boy. They said, I love the name Prem. And dad and mom said, yes, Prem is a beautiful name. We want to name this body Prem. But I am not talking to the body. I'm talking to consciousness, I awareness, I consciousness. So then the question that you need to contemplate, if you're interested in love, in truth, in the non-dual understanding, is to come to clarity that I is not a separate, that consciousness is not separate, is not personal, is not dependent on the body-mind.
The problem I have with that is that for me, such experiences are often transient. I don't know how you experience stuff, but for me, kind of non-dual experiences are very transient. You know, you'll be, let's say there is no self, and then the ego says, oh my God, there is no self, you know, and then you're back again. Right?
Yeah. So, right. Yeah. Come back to me, to me. Right.
So what I'm trying to ask here is, so what you're saying is you would be loving if you were in a non-dual state, right? But of course, I think that's obvious. But, yes. But what I'm trying to understand that if I practice love, would it lead me to non-dual state as a default?
I got it.
It's going the other way around,
yes.
A little bit.
Well,
because I'm building connection, right? Either way.
I would say that it's helpful. It's helpful to live as best as you can as love, you know, not as a separate self. But at the same time, you need to contemplate. So there is the hearing the scriptures, meditating upon the scriptures, upon the teachings, and then the understanding, you know, the integration of the understanding. So, but yes, the answer to your question is yes. It helps to come up at it also the other way, to practice love, be loving, but don't solely rely on that, because you cannot ride a car with 3 tires. You need all 4 tires.
Yeah.
It's a poor metaphor, but you know, yes.
No, I understand. But I think this is my final question, so others have
please
to have
go
a
ahead.
chance to speak.
Please, this is what it's about.
No, but I think, but I think for me, the real question that I'm trying to answer is this. So here's my conundrum, right? Let's say you do self-inquiry, you observe the quality of stuff, blah, 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 blah. You go to the final step. For me, final step is, I believe something to be true. Okay. In my experience, it feels true, but it is not true. I tried asking why. But then I asked, what am I doing when I'm asking why? And I mean, if you look up dictionary, they define why using why. So it doesn't help much.
Right.
But when you think a little bit deeper, what you're asking basically when you're asking why is basically you're asking the cause. You're assuming that what you're looking at is an effect and you're asking the cause.
Right.
So I ask why. However, that cause effect thing happens in a duration of time.
Yes.
Second 0, second 1, then you have a cause and effect.
Right.
But if you're trying to ask why of something that's happening in a moment,
there is no why.
There is no why, right? Yeah. It's nice, like it.
Yes.
But it still doesn't invalidate my experience of me feeling that to be true. Do you understand the conundrum?
Yes.
But now I do not know how to proceed further, because now even logic fails at a point. Because the one question you can ask is why.
Right, but the feeling, you know, what invalidates that the feeling is truth is that the feeling is no longer there, because that which is true is always available. So when you are relying on a feeling as a support, or as an evidence, or as what validates
metric,
your understanding, then you are using something which is fleeting, which is not truth, because truth is not fleeting. It doesn't appear and disappear. So what invalidates the feeling is that the feeling is no longer there. It's replaced with something else. It is now a recollection. Recollection of the feeling is not the feeling. Even if it's a very, very, very close recollection, it is not the same. It's not the same. A photocopy is not the original.
Yeah, no, I get it. But then what you're basically saying is there is no place to stand, right?
I'm saying there is no phenomenal place to stand. No, I'm not saying saying there is no place to stand. No, but that's a good question. I am saying there is no phenomenal place to stand because phenomenal experience is constantly appearing and disappearing. There is a nominal place to stand, and that nominal place to stand is the reality of awareness.
Now, what do you mean by nominal? Because I'm not familiar with that.
By nominal, I mean non-phenomenal. How about that?
Okay.
Non-phenomenal. Because at the mind level, the mind thinks everything is phenomenal.
Then what is not phenomenal? Then what? Can you give me like a nominal example?
Yes, love, being, awareness, presence,
being,
awareness.
Okay. Okay, so shifting your position is what?
Understanding.
It's a nominal thing. So yes. You're defining nominal by saying non-phenomenal.
Yes. Like, let's take the example of a joke. Okay. When I am telling you a joke, I'm sharing information with you, okay? And it's at the mind level. It's phenomenal, right?
Okay.
But then when I give you the punchline, then there is a moment of nominal. There is a nominal moment, and then after that, the phenomenal comes back, and because then now you're remembering the joke, or you got you have a post. There is a pre-understanding, which is phenomenal. Yeah. There is the understanding, which is nominal. Yeah. And the post-understanding, which is also phenomenal.
But then according to this example, I'm just trying to understand this term, because even nominal experiences are impermanent, you might say, right?
No.
So what makes...
No, I didn't say that. No, they're not impermanent. Once you understand that 2 + 2 = 4 and not 2 + 2 = 5, when you understand that 2 + 2 = 4, it's not phenomenal. It's irreversible.
But
once you understand that the earth is not flat,
okay,
by whatever way you understood it, once there's an understanding, the mind has been altered. Before the understanding, the mind had a certain panorama. After the understanding, the mind has a different panorama.
Yeah, don't mind me interrupting you like
no, please go ahead. This is good. This is good. Yes.
So because now what you're saying, let's say I believe Earth is flat, or I believe Earth is round. Of course, I think people would think I'm crazy if I believe Earth is flat. But let's say I believe Earth is round.
Okay.
Experientially, I do not know whether Earth is round or not.
Experientially, okay.
Yeah. So for me, Earth being round is a belief. Let go of Earth. Or even Antarctica is real is also a belief, because I've never been to Antarctica.
Okay, wait. The Earth, you said the Earth is round is a belief. No, because there is evidence outside of your mind.
Yeah.
Outside of your mind, there is evidence by NASA and whatever that the Earth is round. So it's not, you cannot say that it's a belief. Except if you're a solipsist. If you're a solipsist, solipsist, excuse me, then you are no. There is evidence outside of your mind that the Earth is round.
Now the problem with that is, I'm using the mechanism I'm using to believe Earth is true is the same mechanism I'm using to believe I am real as well. Because for me, there's evidence outside saying everyone else validating that I'm real. So I'm basically using the same mechanism here, right?
Yes, it's true. When you use the mechanism that this body is real, not just because it is your personal experience, but because there is also external evidence that this body is real.
Yeah.
We are using the same mechanism, and it's a good mechanism to use, because otherwise you would be a solipsist.
Yeah.
There is evidence that Prem is real. There are pictures and movies of Prem, etc. That Prem is real. Now the question is real as what? Prem is real as what? And this is where we're opening a different conversation. I am saying, yes, Prem is real. I know Prem. He's my friend. He lives in this village. We visited him. We are good friends. I know his family, blah, blah, blah. Yes, Prem is real. But is real as what? How do I know? What is my experience of the reality of Prem? And my experience of the reality of Prem is, of course, through perceptions, sensations, and thoughts, but also, I know Prem as awareness, as reality, as presence. My experience right now is not just of a person named Prem. There is a Prem, yes, but Prem, my experience of Prem right now is awareness appearing as this conversation, which includes Prem.
Yeah.
Do you follow that?
No, I do follow that.
Yes.
I like it. I agree with you. But then according, if I go a little bit back the chain of logic, then wouldn't believing something be a nominal experience and not a phenomenal experience?
Well, if you believe something based on facts, whichever way you define the facts, we can go into that, then I would say that the evidence that supports this belief creates it is a phenomenal evidence, but it creates it's no longer a belief. It shifts the belief from being a belief
to knowingness, right?
Experience.
Okay. I think you're doing the shift between belief and knowingness, right? To know something versus to believe something. Would that be accurate?
No. A belief would be to know something, but without the supporting evidence for it. If you have a supporting evidence for it, then it's no longer a belief, it is a fact.
Okay. The reason I'm a little bit to this thing, because for me, this is the reason I'm even suffering in the first place, right? Because now what would you consider a fact in the first place? Because right now I'm believing 2 + 2 is equal to 4.
Yes.
Which is completely human-made construct. There's nothing it's a language that we made up, right? Irrespective of whether it works.
Yes and no. It is human knowledge, but it is a human knowledge about mathematics, and mathematics are not created by the humans. Mathematics are observable. I mean, there is the 2 + 2 = 4 can never be 2 + 2 = 5, no matter under which circumstances, except if you redefine the term. So I would not. I'm
not saying 2 + 2 is not 4. I'm not saying that. I'm saying for me to say 2 + 2 is equal to 4, I have to first make a distinction that we both agree upon, right? I have to make a distinction saying, okay, this is one thing. I have to make a separation. And within that separation, I'm building logic. And then I can go, okay, within this frame of separation, 2 + 2 is equal to 4, right? Yes. So because I actually have lucid dreams. So I was actually thinking, is gravity in this dream 9.8 meters per second or not? And I was thinking whether Newton would also conclude whether, if he did experiment in his dreams, would he still come to the conclusion that gravity is 9.8 meters per second? I assume not, because I was flying in my dream. But that doesn't matter for me. I'm not saying 2 + 2 is not equal to 4, but I'm kind of questioning my act of creating the definitions, kind of going one level lower, which is what I think you're also pointing with when you're believing something, right? I'm making a distinction. Yes. I'm making a separation. And on top of that separation, I'm building logic, facts, blah, 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 right? And the entire process of non-duality is to remove the separation, right? Which is what?
No. No. The non-duality is not about removing the separation. It's about seeing that separation is not real. So I have no problem right now with this body-mind is Magdi and that body-mind is Prem. I have no problem with that. I'm not removing this separation, if you want to call it separation.
Okay.
But the reality of this body-mind and the reality of that body-mind is one reality. That's where non-duality comes in. It's not so much about removing the separation, but it's about the understanding about non-duality, the understanding about one reality. Yes, there are infinite minds. Yes, there are infinite universes, different shades and colors and different concepts, different creative aspects of mind, and beyond that, the human experience is just one experience among possibly billions and billions of other experiences that are non-human. I mean, I'm completely open to that. I have no, I don't have any lock in on that. It's completely open to infinite creativity. But non-duality is about one reality. And this one reality is, we have evidence of this one reality. The evidence is our direct experience, not the content of mind, which I'm not opposed to the content of mind and the diversity of the content of mind. No opposition to that. But the reality of being, of awareness, of consciousness, of the reality of I is one reality. In other words, whatever it is that perceives a rainbow is that same reality that perceives a thunderstorm or that perceives a hawk that is catching a rabbit. It's that same reality.
I think then the problem here I'm really having is, for me to actually, I'm like trying to think what's stopping me from seeing this reality, right? Obviously. And what's really stopping me is the same thing that is making me believe even stuff like, can life happen on Mars? Maybe it could happen, could not happen. I don't know the way Elon Musk is going, sure. But for me, it's a possibility. Before, if you ask people like 4,000 years ago, dude, you think life would happen on Mars? They would say with absolute conviction that no, right? So there is something that's happening there that is kind of like giving a person an experience of truth, which is
but that's mind. That you're talking about mind, that can change depending on information we get, or it can change depending on what is the state of the mind or the understanding of that particular mind. You're confusing mind with reality.
I'm confusing the metrics that the mind is using to understand reality. Because let's say for me to understand that Earth is round, I'm using a different metric, right? I'm trusting NASA. I'm trusting their ability to understand the stuff more than me.
Yes.
It's a trust.
There is a metric. There is a metric we use, a mind metric that we use on the understanding about non-duality, about Advaita, which we refer to as higher reasoning. For example, an example of higher reasoning is, you perceive a thought. For example, a thought appears to you that you are a great person. Okay. For example, a thought appears to you. Okay.
It definitely is an example. Yeah.
That's an example. Now, that thought, so as a result of that thought, we conclude, oh yeah, I'm a great person, and we feel I'm a great person, right? Okay. Now, now the thought appears to you. It appears to you, right? The thought appears to you. If it doesn't appear to you, you wouldn't perceive it, and you won't even have that thought. You perceive the thought. You agree? Are you on board? So a thought is something you perceive. the thought that you perceive, anything that you perceive doesn't know anything about you, right? If you perceive an oak tree, if you perceive a rainbow, they don't know anything about you. That which you perceive doesn't know anything about the reality which perceives it, right?
I think the thought has ingrained beliefs about me, though. Right? So let's say
let's stay basic. I'm being basic. I'm saying a thought is an appearance. Would you agree or not?
Yeah, it's happening. It's arising.
It's a happening.
Yeah.
And a thought has a beginning and an ending.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if a thought is a happening, and a happening is an appearance that is perceived, but it does not perceive. In other words, it is known, but it is not knowing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I understand. I follow you.
Given that a thought is not knowing and it is known, so therefore we cannot. The thought that says, "Oh, I'm a great guy," is a lot of BS, because if I believe it, if I believe it, because I am that which perceives the thought.
Yeah.
And that which perceives the thought is not a thought.
Oh, yeah.
Because a thought does not perceive another thought.
But that's a jump in logic, right?
That's right.
That's an intuitive leap that you just took, right?
Well, no,
you don't know that for sure. You kind of.
I know for sure that I am the reality which perceives.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have doubts? Do you have doubts about that?
No, I don't have doubts about that, but I'm just questioning you a bit here, because what if there's a possibility where I am a thought perceiving the other thought, and that thought is perceiving me, because that's what I'm assuming about you.
Yes, right. I got you. Yeah. So you're saying, what if I'm a thought that is perceiving another thought? That's that, Yeah. So let's talk. So a thought. Okay, we will agree. We will agree if we affirm that a thought perceives. You have to make the assumption that a thought perceives, because if you don't make the assumption that a thought perceives, then you cannot make the statement that, well, I could be a thought perceiving another thought. So we are making the assumption. So on what basis are you founding? What is the foundation upon which you are making the statement or the assumption that a thought perceives? That's my question to you.
All right. So let me be very, very honest with this entire experience here. So would it be, so in my experience, this is what I'm experiencing. I think the thought does not, in my experience, the thought does not perceive, it's an appearance, cannot look within itself. And I, as a perceiver looking at the thought, do not kind of also look within. Because when I'm looking at the thought, I'm now assuming my nature as a looker, right?
No, I am not assuming my nature as a looker.
No, I'm assuming that.
No. I'm sorry. My experience, and that's not an assumption. My experience is I am the perceiver. I am not assuming anything. That's a very important point here.
No. Yeah.
There is no assumption. It is a fact that I perceive.
Yeah.
No assumption.
No, and what I'm trying to say is, I'm agreeing with you that rather than saying I'm experiencing, I think it's more accurate. What I'm trying to communicate here is the experiencing is happening, yeah. But the moment I say I am now experiencing, right now, I have to assume what this I might be, which is why I'm then.
No. Okay, yes, I get it. I disagree with that, because. To say experiencing is happening, to whom and where and to what? My experience, and just speaking with my experience, and it's not a belief, it's my experience, and it's always been my experience that I perceive. Okay. It's not, I cannot say perceiving is not happening. I will not say, of course, perceiving is happening. I have no issue with that. But to then say, well, perceiving is happening, and let's take a scissor and cut the I that perceives. That's not my experience. My experience is I perceive. It's simple. It's really simple.
Yeah.
It's not philosophical. I perceive.
No.
So, but there is a little caveat here. The caveat is that I used to believe and feel that this body, mind, this person, this is that which perceives. It's no longer my experience. My experience is that I perceive, but this I have no idea what it is. There's no shape, no color, no size, no sex, no location, no etc. But although I cannot describe to you phenomenally what this I is, it is undeniable in my experience.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, that's what I'm also saying. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm also agreeing with you. I'm experiencing, and I feel that to be true. But now when I inquire, who am I from now? Now, if I inquire, who am I? Now, what do we do?
You see, I never encourage the question, who am I? I used to way back when, but I no longer do that. No, you cannot,
throw it away.
Because the mind cannot, the mind being limited is not the tool, it's not a tool, no matter how sophisticated the mind is, no matter how sophisticated, it's like a greater philosophy, it's still a limited tool. It cannot grasp that which is numinal, that which is non-phenomenal. The mind is in the phenomenal realm and is not the tool to say, oh, okay, I got it. I know who I am. I am blah, 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 blah. No. All that would be falsehood. So the teaching here is I am, and this I, which is the reality, I say the reality of presence or beingness or consciousness or whatever word you want to use, but I do not know what I am. And there is no way to know what I am, and because the mind can never know that which knows it. And so the teaching is I am, but not a limited personal body mind, because if you say I am a limited personal body mind, you already have defined that you know what I am. So I am, but I do not know what I am.
Okay, so right now there is no assumption, but I think there is one assumption here, which is that you're saying I'm experiencing, but I don't know what I am. I would agree. I don't know what I am. I don't know what I is in experiencing. I'm experiencing, but I know for a fact, as a knowingness, I know that I'm experiencing, right?
Yes.
But I do not know the I part of I'm experiencing because blah 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 reasons. It's true or
no.
not.
For a simple reason that the mind cannot know that which is bigger than it. But I knows what I am. Not I, the mind. I know what I am. Because first of all, I know I am, right?
Yeah.
And I know that I know.
That
I know that I am, meaning I know that I know.
Yeah.
So therefore, I know I am presence, sat, and I am knowingness, chit.
Yeah.
Sat, chit. So that I don't know what I am phenomenally, but I know what I am nominally.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you're pushing the conversation to that level that yes, it is not sufficient to say I am and I don't know what I am. You're right. I am and I don't know what I am phenomenally, but I know what I am nominally.
Okay, but the only reason, the thing I'm disagreeing with here is the disagreeing. No.
It's okay.
Not that much.
Yeah.
I'm disagreeing a bit here. I'm not trying to deconstruct your mind or anything. I'm just really curious.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Is what if there's a let's say like this hand, it cannot grasp its own hand, right?
Yes.
This hand cannot. My teeth cannot bite itself.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But so let's say if this hand cannot grasp itself,
Yes.
doesn't mean that there is something more than this hand that is not, because you said mind cannot be perceived, or the mind cannot perceive something that's bigger than it, is what you
Yes.
said, right?
Right.
I'm disagreeing with that fact, saying what if it's almost like one hand trying to grab itself? Because when you're using language as a system of
Yes.
symbols,
Yes.
it has one job to
Right.
as
You
a
see,
go
right.
on.
So using that analogy of the hand that cannot grasp
Yeah.
itself, you're right. A hand cannot grasp itself phenomenally. The left hand can grab the right hand phenomenally. The right hand can grab the left hand phenomenally, but the left hand cannot grab itself phenomenally. You are right in that metaphor. But if you apply the metaphor, because all metaphors are limited to what we're talking about, yes. So the metaphor would be the hand cannot grasp itself phenomenally, but it knows itself nominally. So I know it's all metaphors are limited, but that's the point that I'm making, is that awareness, presence, beingness cannot grasp itself phenomenally, meaning via the mind, via thinking, but it knows itself as Satchitananda.
Because, okay, why shouldn't I conclude, let's say, with using this metaphor, like a different conclusion with a different thought, is let's say the hand cannot grasp itself. The hand cannot grasp itself because the hand is trying to grasp itself, basically.
Yes.
So when I'm saying I'm experiencing I, let's say I'm experiencing I. So the experiencing is I, because let's say, just like in this, hand is trying to,
yes.
So why am I not concluding that?
Yes, but no, I am concluding that. I'm actually concluding that which is seeking is that which is being sought. That which is seeking is that which is being sought. Is that I'm not right English? That I is always experiencing itself. It is trying to grasp itself, but it starts by imagining itself to be something other than itself. So the journey starts with I'm trying to grasp myself, but I'm imagining myself other than myself. In time, when the understanding through various insights comes on board, you come to the understanding that I've always been myself. I've always been grasping myself. I've always been myself. That which I always was seeking is that which I have always been, that which I am. This is now, when we come to Ramana's Maharshi's I. In the end, we come to I. There is no, but it's even to say I like that is incomplete. But what can we do with language? It's actually I like this.
Yeah. Now the thing is, now let's say, no, not let's say. So let's say, not let's. Okay, I is I. We all agree with that, of course, right?
Yes.
But in this process, what we are doing is we are removing the distinctions that separating I from I. Would you agree?
Yeah, you could. We're removing
Numinal understanding.
We're removing any belief about I, because any belief about I, yes, is
more selfless, you might say. As in, before I think I am a part of my body now, but now I is much more bigger than just body.
So
would that be fair? Is that what you're trying to say? Would you say the sense of identity is bigger now?
Oh, absolutely. The experience of identity would be like a sphere, like a sphere without a center and with infinite diameter.
Okay, cool. That's interesting you say that. You just came up with an analogy because there's another.
I've shared it a couple of times before.
It was like someone said this. It was like a circle with a radius infinity, basically.
Yes, but no center.
Yeah, like infinity cannot have a center, right?
Yes.
Yes. Or circle with a zero radius. Would you say?
I'm sorry.
Would you say it's more? Or a circle with because what you're doing in this process, you're basically either reducing the circle to zero, right? So that it becomes circle with the same thing, right?
Yeah, the zero and the infinity, they meet.
They're the same thing, right?
They meet.
I think in this process, you're trying to like bring the circle down to zero. And so now your sense of self is almost, at least in a nominal understanding, is now you kind of intuitively understand that everything is a part of me, kind of.
Yeah,
would that be fair?
The experience is that of delocalized, not localized, and not limited.
Okay. So we have this,
so that we go from, the journey is from I am this and the world is that, and then we come to the understanding that I am consciousness, and then the final understanding is all is consciousness. There's only one reality.
All right. So we are here. Okay, that's nice, beautiful. But now, of course. But now, what I really want to understand now is the connection between this and love.
Between
this.
Between
I want to
this
and love. How does love play in this part? And
love,
where is?
Yes. So love is a non-dual way in which let's say we feel. So love would be the universe loving, the infinite loving. So love goes from I love you, or I love this, or I love that, to the whole universe is love, which is all love.
So now, are you saying the quality of experience is itself love?
Yes, the quality of experience is love.
So then you're also saying that quality of awareness is also love.
Yes. But I don't mean a romantic type of love.
No, of course, yes, in a more existential way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because experience and awareness, or experience and consciousness, then they're one.
Mm-hmm. So then what is, so then if I have like push this one step further, then would you say everything that's real is also love?
Yes. Well, no, I wouldn't say everything that is real is also love. I would say all is love. All is real.
No.
I'm saying, yeah.
I'm trying to say, let's say there's a belief. Let's say I'm believing that belief is real. Okay. Then am I believing the belief is real because of love, is what I'm asking.
Well, behind the scene, everything that we do, everything that is done out of love. So yes, you could say that even a personal belief, or a belief in any sort of belief, behind it, what fuels it, maybe not, it's not bubbling at the surface, but what's beneath it is love.
Okay, it's like a misplaced love, or for imagination,
misdirected. Yes.
Okay. A conditional, mislabeled love.
It's love that's sort of like a light going through a prism. It's sort of, the white becomes blue or something like that.
It's filtered. It's like a sunglass, you're saying.
Yes.
It's like how the sunglass kind of removes the reflective.
But the light is always a white light. Behind the screen, it's always a white light. So there's only one reality. This is why in Advaita we say, in reality, there is no separate reality that is called ignorance. There is no actual reality to ignorance. There is only one reality, which is God's reality, God's being, God's mind.
Mm-hmm. So then, because now what you're just saying is, any belief I'm having, whether it's real or not, doesn't matter. If in my experience, if something feels real, it has a quality of truth to it, which is love.
Yes, but there is a but here. But
okay, go on.
Because you have the purple glasses on, you experience, although although the light of awareness is always love, what is channeled through this particular mind is distorted. So your dream is unhappy dream, or sometimes happy, sometimes it's not a happy dream. So in a way, Advaita is about a happy dream.
So you're like saying every belief is now almost like a filter on top of this white light.
Absolutely. Yes.
So what you're trying to do is either change the filter or remove the filter in this process.
No, we're just trying to see the filter, to understand filter. It's not about removing it. Once you understand something, once you see something is false, it removes itself. We're not trying to remove the filter. It's very important. No, it's not. There's no effort or an activity. It's a process of understanding, of inquiry, of investigation and contemplation. So once you understand something that is false, it will, by the understanding, transforms it.
Okay, because what I'm trying to understand here is that I think the greatest thing that we are, I think, all trying to deal with here is that Maya, what falsehood has going for itself, or the Maya or illusion or whatever, is that it feels true, regardless whether it's being true or not. Falsehood masquerades as truth. It kind of cosplays as truth. And you're saying the reason is that because it's kind of taking some of the qualities of the white light, but kind of twisting it, filtering it, and showing you a very colored picture, is what you're saying.
Yes, except that I make a distinction between ignorance and mind, or phenomenal, phenomenal experience. So phenomenal experience is mind, colors, shapes, namarupa, names and shapes and sounds and form and vibrations. That mind. I make a distinction between mind and between ignorance.
What is the distinction?
So in mind, there is colors, shapes, forms, names.
More sensory input, you're saying? Sensory
inputs, mental inputs, imagery, sensations. But there isn't a belief in separation. In other words, a sage is still living in the world, still perceiving sounds of traffic, sees a red sign and stops, sees a green sign and goes. But there is no suffering, there is no ignorance. Ignorance is the belief in separation and the feeling of separation. Because I'm making this point because sometimes...
No, I understand. It's a very important point. But please go on what you were saying.
I just wanted to share that sometimes there is the notion that in some traditions that we're trying to sort of reach a blank state or clear the mind or empty the mind or come to a state of emptiness. And I'm very careful not to make this distinction that mind has its function. It's very practical function. It is God's creation. It is actually the Shakti aspect of Shiva. It's a creative aspect of the absolute. Okay. There is nothing wrong with that. It's a celebratory realm, and it's also a contemplative realm. When we see a sunset, we're like, we're struck with awe, or when sometimes we see the wind, sort of how it's moving in the leaves, or when we see a face of a friend, we feel such love, such tenderness, such. So I make this distinction between ignorance and.
So I think the reason you're calling it ignorance is because you're assuming that the filtered light is the white light. Is that the reason why? From your analysis,
you're assuming
that the filtered light is the white light.
You're assuming that there are multiple realities. When the filter lights present you with multiple colors, shapes, and sounds, you believe that there are multiple realities or phenomenal reality, and that there is a phenomenal reality, a materialist reality, an objective reality outside of the white light.
I'm trying to understand this because
so the removal of the veil comes hand in hand with the understanding about one reality, about the reality of consciousness, the reality of the white light.
Okay. So would it be accurate to say, using a different example, because I'm exploring this a bit, let's say that circle, the sphere example that you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say I have a sphere of radius 10 or whatever, let's say 10. So I'm assuming that sphere of radius 10 is the entire world, and that is ignorance, is what you're trying to say?
Yes.
When the actual radius of the circle is either infinity, basically.
Yes.
Is like the kind of thing?
Yes.
So basically you're making the world conditional, and you think that conditional reality is the reality, whereas in reality is reality, which is infinite.
It's not only you're making it conditional, you're also making it limited. And you're
limited.
And you're making it personal. And yes.
And the trap of the the trap of the ignorance is basically convincing you this conditional reality is the reality. Is that it?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
So then I can deduce that the trap of the lure of ignorance is making you believe that this conditional reality is the reality. Let's say,
well, except that there is no you. The ignorance is the play of consciousness. It's God's play.
So you're saying the way it convinces you is first creates an I, then it creates another world, and then it creates a relationship between I and other world, and that makes this entire thing conditional, which is the ignorance aspect of you, which is what you're removing is using non-duality, right?
Yes,
following, right?
And it is God's play.
So now, how would you define God then? Because this is a new term that you just introduced.
Take the metaphor of the night dream.
Okay.
In your night dream, you dream many different people, many different countries, many different experiences, many different minds, many different experiences, and you may actually even dream yourself to be somebody, traveling somewhere with, So while in fact, none of that is true. You're not a limited person that you're dreaming yourself to be. You realize that upon waking up. But let's say that you realize that even without waking up, then the dream, which is the sense of separation. I am this person. Oh my God, do they love me? No. Or am I gambling? I'm at the casino. Am I winning? Am I losing? Oh my God, I lost. Oh, I hope I win. Whatever.
Yeah.
Well, all of that is God's creation. When I say God's creation, meaning it's the creation of the dreamer, of consciousness, of reality. So you, as in this metaphor of the night dream, you, the dreamer, is this reality that is creating out of yourself. And is viewing, and not it's creating and it's viewing. You're viewing all the characters, and you're also viewing yourself winning or losing at the casino. And you're also viewing the dealer trying to cheat you, because you're also the dealer.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if I'm understanding you right, because now what you're saying right now, if I have to rephrase it, is that the things we first of all imagine an I, then we imagine the other reality, then the relationship makes it conditional, but all this imagination is basically dreamt up because this imagination is not real, and the person dreaming this up is God, which is the nominal place existing.
It is your dream. It's your dream. You're dreaming this dream. You're creating this dream, not you, the body, mind, prem, but you, the reality of you, that which truly hears and perceives right now. That reality is transparent. It's not a body, mind. It's not a form. So it is I, which is perceiving, conceiving, creating, perceiving, and dissolving.
So now,
in moment by moment, but not in time. It's not in time. When I say moment by moment, I don't mean a small moment of time. I mean no time.
Okay. So now what you're saying, God is basically me without the ignorance part.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, the white light.
I never said it that way, but it sounds okay. It sounds good. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
God is without ignorance, of course.
All right. Okay. So this is all fine and dandy. I like this a lot. Actually, it's a really helpful conversation. I'm not that good at expressing it. It's really helpful.
Yes.
But now the real, I think, if I may ask, really one last question here, is that all this is like fun and games, of course. I love this. But how do so let's say I face something that experientially feels true, or you might call it a belief, and it clearly doesn't serve us, any way you look at it, this belief I'm believing, it just doesn't serve me. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But it still believes to be true, and I'm suffering through this serving.
Yes.
Now I have this very comprehensive understanding thanks to you now. So now this belief comes, this moment, I'm looking at it, now what?
As long as in that moment, you still believe and feel yourself to be an entity that's being aggressed, or that's something is threatening this entity, then you are subject to that experience, no matter how illusory it is. But as soon as you get some clarity in the moment that you are not that which you're imagining yourself to be, you're not that which you feel yourself to be, that you are that which is viewing, that you are the perceiving aspect of in this moment. As soon as somehow there is a shift, it's a subtle shift from being a subject to conditions, to being the viewer, and that this viewer is not an entity. There is already the release, like the anchor has been, the chain has at that moment been released. Now it will take many iterations you will find in your life for that understanding to experientially settle itself in your life, because your life will challenge you, or provides you with many opportunities to root yourself in that understanding, so that understanding is sort of living itself through you.
Okay, I think what you're basically saying is, when you're saying subject object, I'm just realizing. Yeah, please go on, Holger.
No, I'm listening.
Okay. So I think
I'm sorry, I don't want to be rude.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to ask Prem, what do you really want? Because we can talk forever, and it's very valuable. And I'm really sorry that I have to speak up. There's just something in me is stirring, and I just allow myself to be rude right now.
Yeah, sure.
What do you really want?
Well, I'm sorry. I sorry to interrupt you, Holger. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I feel that this is a really important conversation.
Okay, sorry. Wonderful. Excuse me, please. I didn't say anything.
Stay with this conversation if it was not significant to our topic. So now I think there was a question that Prem you were about to ask. I don't. Did you lose track of it? And if you did, then you're welcome to address Holger's question. But
I'll address both questions, but I think I'm really asking you. I'm curious about this. It's partly answers the question. So are you saying? So would it be accurate to say, from your perspective? So from my perspective, the normal guy, right? When I'm saying a subject and object. So let's say a belief comes, there's a subject and an object. The object is having an impact on the subject. But when I'm assuming there's a subject, the subject has an object within it. But when you're using the word subject, your subject doesn't have an object within it. That's
very good. That is on point. That the subject that I speak about, that I'm speaking of, and that is hearing these words, there are no objects in that realm. Yes.
But when I'm using the word subject, there is objects in that term. I'm
Well,
at least assuming
you need to assume if there is an object in the world, then you, the subject, is also an object. Because in order to have two, you have to start with one. The first, I am an object. I am this person, this body, mind.
Yeah.
That is behind the curtain. Behind the curtain, I am an object. And then there are more objects.
So your practice is basically trying to dissolve the object behind the subject?
I'm sorry, repeat that?
So your practice is basically trying to dissolve the object behind the subject?
No, I am not trying to dissolve anything. I think I answered that. I addressed that before.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's about understanding. When there is understanding, understanding dissolves the falsehood. You know, like if you understood that your father was Santa Claus and you see, if you believed in Santa Claus and then you see your father dressing as Santa Claus, you don't need to dissolve anything. It dissolves. In the moment of understanding, there is insight. Understanding means insight. And our entire meetings, all our meetings are about understanding. Okay, I think that Holger, you know, Holger's point, by the way, for everybody and Holger as well, I was quite aware that we're having a long conversation with Prem, but I really feel that Prem's inquiry is a good inquiry for all of us, and this is why I stayed with it. I am not in the habit of going along, you know, with conversations when I feel that they're not you know, significant, but I am. I apologize if some of you have sort of and also
same here. I'm sorry, go on.
Yes. Also, Prem, you know, if you like to write in the chat box your email address, I will send you the video in case you're interested.
Yeah.
This way you can you could view it again in your private time if you would like to. Okay.
Final thing, I just want to answer Holger's question. Is really
okay. Yes.
Is that for me, what I'm really looking for from any teachings, I really don't care about non-duality and there's so many teachings out there. I only am curious about one thing, is I'm looking for a consistent practice that you can do, either inquiry, breathing, whatever, when a belief arises and you have a resistance to it, but also understand why that practice works. That's it.
And Prem, you will be forever busy. That's my feeling.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Holger? I didn't hear you.
I said, Prem, I have the feeling you will be forever busy.
Yeah.
Oh, with the practice,
yes, with his, and what do we really want is peace of mind in daily living, independent of circumstances. Otherwise, the mind goes on forever and ever and ever and ever and goes on and develops new questions, new perspectives. It's a never-ending rabbit hole. I love you, and it was wonderful to listen to you. It was good.
Yes, it's true that we cannot come to full understanding via the mind, but the mind is also a good tool for some of us. You know, some don't rely too much on the mind, but in my experience, the mind is also a good tool to navigate towards the understanding. Of course, the understanding is not a mind process, but the mind is a tool in the process of understanding. And any question and any query about truth, about reality, is a good question. Okay, thank you all. Lovely to be with you, Vicky and Prem. Patrick, Holger, Chai, George, Holly, and my sweetheart Tara. Thank you all.
Thank you, Magdi.
Okay.
Thank you.
Lovely to see you. Okay.